Love your neighbor as yourself. Love your neighbor as yourself is the second greatest commandment out of the first one, which is love thy God with all your heart, mind, body, and soul. You love yourself. You love yourself every weekend when you go and get your hair done. You love yourself when you get your nails done. Don't you love yourself when you buy yourself some of the finest linen of clothing to clothe your beautiful body? Or how about the shoes, fashionable, latest designer shoes on your fashionable feet? Or the restaurant that you eat in when you wine and dine at the fanciest restaurant? Or how about the car you drive when you treat yourself to the best automobile of your liking to your understanding? You are treating yourself to the desires and the wants and the needs because of your hard work. So since you put in hard work, you pleasure yourself with the material things, just as if you shall be saved by the word that you were brought into. So dost thou sharing those material things with the world and your neighbor, dost thou being polite to others as you would be polite to yourself with your neighbors. The greatest commandment is to love thy neighbor as yourself. Is it so hard to bind the hatred and the despisedness that you may have for someone you argued with, a childhood enemy, a neighbor next door, a certain race or nation of people? This is one of the greatest commandments because it is one of the hardest for humans on this earth to actually abide by and fulfill. You can love God all you want to believe, but if you can't carry out the actions of loving thy neighbor as yourself, how do you expect in return for the Lord thy God to love you as he would love himself? If you could not show him, you could do the same. Come on, people, let's get it together. Love thy neighbor as yourself. It's not a hard commandment. Treating others respectfully. So how do we do that? That doesn't mean, okay, you know what? Example number one, I hate black people. So since I hate black people, I like these ones over here, but the rest of them I don't like. So I'll just treat these good and I'll be okay. I don't have to treat them as long as I treat these ones. I hate Asian people. So guess what? I'm going to like these ones that sort of act right, but these ones over here, I'm not. No, it's everybody. And guess what? The greatest of them all is for you to actually like the people you hate. You hate me? Speak to me. Even though it's the hardest thing. Hi, how are you doing, Shalal? Fine. Every day, I try to walk in those footprints of loving thy neighbor. These are the tests and the progressions that we need to make spiritually, worldly, as we are on probation while on this earth for the one true God. Hey, I don't like Billy Bob, but every morning I get up and I'll go, hey, Billy Bob, good morning, how are you doing? Billy Bob will look at me and go, F you, nigger. And I'll go, hey, God bless you too. You have a good day, Billy Bob. Yeah, whatever. Well, guess what? I went and I fulfilled that commandment. I was polite and I was kind. The things that are the hardest in life are the things you have to learn spiritually and worldly to overcome. So whatever you have in life that you are despising or working against, you have to face that and overcome it spiritually and worldly. Do not sit down and wear a blue string on your tizzits, tassels, fringes, whatever you want to call them, and say that you're a Hebrew or a converted Hebrew that believes if you can't sit down and love thy neighbor as you love yourself, or love this person as you love yourself, if you can't speak and be kind with everybody like you do all your other friends and community of people, get it right. Because a lot of people are playing games, walking around with the blue string to try to debunk, act as if they are of and are not conversion, reborn, rebirth, or of best thou that blue string of bloodline. Be brought in. One grafted tree, no angle, well-roundedness, get it right. This is an action of characteristics of personality. It ain't mine, it ain't yours, it's Yahweh's. So what does the scripture have to say? Matthew 12:31 states, the second greatest commandment after love the Lord with all your heart, body, and soul, and mind is, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. There is no other commandment greater than these. A lot of people would like to try to mix this up, that are still stuck in the old, but you can't have the old without the new, just like the new without the old, because he didn't come to abolish the old, but fulfill them. So with that being said, out of the Tanakh that rocks, we're going to read Lamentations 19, verse 9 through 18. When you reap the harvest of your land, you shall not reap all the way to the edges of your field, or gather the gleanings of your harvest. You shall not pit your vineyard bare, or gather the fallen fruit of your vineyard. You shall leave them for the poor and the stranger. I am the Lord thy God, because they would leave 10% of their harvest and only take what they needed for the poor. You shall not steal. You shall not deal deceitfully or falsely with another. You shall not swear falsely by my name, profaning the name of your God. I am the Lord. You shall not defraud your fellow. You shall not commit robbery. The wages of a laborer shall not remain with you until morning. You shall not insult the deaf or place the stumbling block before the blind. You shall not fear. You shall fear your God. I am the Lord. You shall not render an unfair decision. Do not favor the poor or show difference to the rich. Again, separation, segregation is spiritually of Satan. Judge your kinsmen fairly. Do not deal basely with your countrymen. Do not profit by the blood of your fellow. I am the Lord. Do not profit off the word, the scriptures, anything that has to do with God. Do not try to profit off of something that's kindly going on between you, your fellow brother, or your neighbor. You don't go and try to beat them in the head. You shall not hate your kinsfolk in your heart. Reprove your kinsman, but incur no guilt because of him. You shall not take vengeance or bear or grudge against your countrymen. Love your fellow as yourself. I am the Lord thy God. You guys need to get it right. Back to the New Testament again. It states in Matthew 22, 36, 39. Teacher, this is a great commandment in the law. Which is the greatest commandment in the law? Yeshua said to him, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind. This is the first and the greatest commandment. The second greatest commandment, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. Remember, the way that you love yourself, the way that you treat yourself, and the way that you want to feel happy is the way that you go and you treat others. If you don't feel like speaking because you're in a bad mood, that's your personal problem. Deal with it yourself, but you still show respect, and you still speak, and you still put a smile on your face. Even when you're fast, you're supposed to put a smile on your face and be kind. So there's an equality, well-roundedness thing going on here. Not an angle, not a separation, and not a segregation. Remember, Satan loves to manipulate by conquering and dividing. So, with that being said, the one grafted tree, a well-roundedness, and love thy neighbor as yourself.